Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Everybody feeling fired up? So I hope you're all enjoying boot camp. This is my first experience, and it's definitely been, I'm grateful to be here. It's been a lot of fun. I'm grateful to be here with my colleagues Adam Saw from Google and Susan Nesbitt from the Craigslist Foundation. But I'm grateful to be here with all of you because we're going to talk about All for Good today, and All for Good was an application that was developed really for you, for community activists, for local organizers, for social entrepreneurs. The vision from where this came was to how would we take the power of technology and put it in the hands of people like you. We're changing communities, we're organizing at a local level, and we're strengthening our country. So I hope we're going to talk about something today that'll get you all excited, and that all of you will find ways to make this useful. So before we get started, I just want to thank publicly, because this is really my first chance to do so, some of the people who made this happen. So what we're going to talk about today, All for Good, would not have happened were it not for the extraordinary contributions of a coalition of companies, particularly Google, who bring together not only sort of world-class engineering talent, but in a remarkable mission to change the world. It is breathtaking to see this commitment from the founders of the company and the CEO on down to all the employees. They live it. People like Adam exemplify that. People like John Lyman and Ginny Hunt and Jamie Yude and Mark Heyman, and there are so many of them in this room, I can't name them all. I also want to thank the folks from the Craigslist Foundation, Lynn Lucknow and Susan Nesbitt and Arthur Coddington and all the folks who put on boot camp today and who demonstrate with all that they do the amazing commitment and that sort of initial vision of Craig to use the web to organize people. And I think it's, again, really inspiring what they've done. So now we're going to do a little bit of background on All for Good, and then I'm going to allow Adam and Susan just really walk us through the product so you guys can really understand what it does and hopefully find ways to make it work for you. So can we go to the first slide? So this started, really in many ways, it happens every day, like I said, in household and in community centers and in churches and in schools and in libraries and in hospitals and in all kinds of places at a local level. There are so many organizations who are doing great stuff. Senator Obama, when running for the presidency, had this vision of making service a centerpiece of his campaign of a national effort to help with the recovery and reinvestment and strengthening of the country. So I had the privilege of working on the presidential transition team when we thought about how are we going to make the promise of the campaign work within the realities of governance. One of the ideas that we had was how could we build upon the new media momentum of the campaign? Technology and social networking were so fundamental to his success. And we thought, let's bring that into the administration. And let's make that work on a day-to-day basis as we shift toward governance. And there seemed to be no better place to do it than service. There are already amazing people doing great stuff with technology. I see Steve Wright from the Salesforce Foundation. Salesforce does great stuff with nonprofits. I see the folks from CauseCast, Ryan and Brian here. CauseCast doing great stuff with cause marketing. There are lots of people doing all kinds of amazing work. What we wanted to do was to use the imprimatur of the administration and the presidency to help maybe kickstart some things. Because there are a lot of, again, great people doing great work. Maybe we could just accelerate it. And so that was the idea of working with and organizing a remarkable group of companies like Google, like Facebook, like Yahoo, like Salesforce. All these organizations said, hey, we want to help. And then working with some of the great nonprofits like Volunteer Match or Idealist or, help me, there are a bunch of them we're going to talk about. Truist, who are already doing great work in the nonprofit space. And we thought, how can we cohere what they're doing and create a platform to catalyze even more activity? And that's what this is about. This was about how do we change the game of service and bring the power of Web 2.0 in an open source way so that we could build something and then give it to you. A free platform that we would not keep for ourselves, but open up. And with the power of data, empower all of you in ways that maybe you didn't have access to before. So it's been a 6-month journey. It's been up and down. You can read the Chronicle of Philanthropy. But here we are today, and I think what we've created All for Good is really breakthrough. I think it will really change the game, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. So with that said, I want to turn it over to Adam to start the demo.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Adam Sa. I'm a software engineer at Google. Many of you know about Google Gadgets and other things that we've worked on in the past. And I had an opportunity to work with Paul Rademacher, Karen Padham, some other amazing Google engineers and product managers on All for Good. And it started as a 20% project, as often these things do. And as often 20% projects do, it turns into a 120% project. And in particular, I was working on this product this morning, and you'll actually see some evidence of that. And even these slides were done, I think about 15 minutes ago. So, I mean, this is all very real time. And this is also often how things really happen at Google. People ask, well, what is it like? Oh, well, this is how it's really like. And I've been doing it for a while. And it's really my pleasure to work with some great people and great organizations. I don't even know faces. I remember it's all just email and IM. I've met a lot of people today for the first time. So this is my view of what it is. To my mind, All for Good is a way of connecting people with volunteer opportunities. And over time, maybe that'll expand and so on. But for now, we're pretty focused on just ways that you can do a volunteer activity, typically tied with time and a location, but not always. And then bring these opportunities to users. A lot of times in the web, people sort of make the mistake of, I'm going to bring up a website, and then everyone's going to come to my website. And of course, that's not the reality. The reality is you have to come to them. And a lot of this is, not that exciting. It's a lot of low-level engineering and marketing work and so on to actually wire things up properly on the web. And the generalization of gadgets and widgets are these little rectangles that you can plug into applications and web pages with agreement, of course, by the users and the owners of the page that actually show you a small version of the application, in this case, a search engine for volunteer opportunities. The second thing is social networks. Obviously, social networks have changed everybody's lives. A social network, of course, is simply a web page and a blog that knows who your friends are and so on and so forth, and you communicate in ways that hadn't been done before. And we should be part of that as part of bringing these opportunities to users. It should certainly organically show up on Facebook. It should organically show up on all the other places that have social connections. Apps. What are apps? Well, app is just simply a way of saying it's more than just a static web page with content on it, but actually you can really richly interact with it. And the most common, of course, that a lot of you now use, shockingly, like a shocking number of people, are iPhones and then following it, Android apps, these kind of rich cell phone mobile apps that are conveniently enough about the same size and shape as a widget, right? So it's pretty easy for publishers to then do this. And then lastly, we talk about open everything. To my mind, openness means three things. It means the code behind the site is open source, of course. But that's not enough. You have to make it so that people in practice can actually contribute. And there's a whole bunch of other things. You don't just throw it over the wall and hope somebody writes code. And there's a lot of subtle things that I want to talk about today because they're just minutia that we have to do to make it work. Likewise, open data. The data itself has to be open so that anyone can get access to it. And of course, data doesn't mean like here's a flat file with 100,000 items in it, but it means a rich database that you can query. And if you want to throw 100 requests a second at it, no problem, we can take care of that, right? That's what we do. And then lastly, APIs. And an API, for those who aren't technical, it basically means a way that computers can talk to each other. And so you can build applications that then use our database behind the scenes in whatever way makes sense for you and your users. And we did this, and we're not even really live. I mean, I don't know, the last 30 days have been a blur because we turned on the site a couple of weeks ago, but then didn't tell anyone. And that wasn't apparently the right thing to do because we kept getting requests, and we got indexed by Google, and I mean, just it's been crazy. And even before the sort of PR machine is kicked in, we've had 150 inquiries from various real organizations that have funding and so on, who want to then extend this platform and do things with the platform. And it's been pretty overwhelming. My mailbox has been, a zoo. It sometimes helps to sort of break things down. And I apologize, this may not even be the right way to break it down. We'll keep playing around with it. But yesterday I sort of said, well, gosh, we have all these different things. How would you sort of organize this?